What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I wanted to talk about apartment hunting in Seattle. So I've been getting quite a few questions and DMs about moving to Seattle and like tips on where to live and what to look for and what not to look for, things of that nature. So I thought I would just kind of compile that all into one video, and then hopefully I can just use this as a reference for people when they ask, and then also if they have any other questions, I'm always happy to answer those. With that being said, I do have some bullet points that I want to go over, but if you do have any questions that I don't already answer or you just are curious about, feel free to comment down below and I will be able to answer to the best of my abilities. Towards the end of this video, I do want to do just like a little jumpingonapartments.com and how I typically would look for an apartment and just like the things that I look for, just to actually give you like a visual of what I do, and hopefully that can help you a little bit. But let's start from the beginning. So first on my list for finding an apartment is figuring out your budget. It's really hard to find something that you're looking for and set expectations without having a budget. I feel like that's the first order of business, just so you can kind of like narrow down pretty much what you're looking for and cancel out anything else that doesn't fall within that. Otherwise, you just have like an overwhelming amount of things to look through. And when you're figuring out your budget, you definitely want to set realistic expectations. I know that's kind of easier said than done when you're coming to a new place and you don't really know what to expect, but I think just doing the right research and knowing all of the things that you're going to have to be paying for, you can kind of set these expectations that are going to be budget friendly and just like not get your hopes up really. So for example, when you're trying to set realistic expectations, you want to factor not only the cost of the apartment itself, but also like utilities and internet and parking specific. Don't forget that. We'll get into that in a little bit, but there's just so much other costs that come with moving that you don't really think about. You literally just like see the apartment cost and you're like, okay, that's in budget. And then you have to think about all the other things you have to factor in, and it becomes a lot more than what you initially thought. A little tip that I found when looking for apartments in Seattle, and I don't know if this is everywhere else, I haven't lived that many places, but I'm sure they have them other places, but I've found in Seattle there are a lot of like open one bedrooms, or they call them urban one bedrooms, and that is basically, it's kind of a glorified studio, but also like a one bedroom. It's essentially just like a bedroom without a door. Our old apartment was an open one bedroom. It basically, sometimes it has like a sliding door, sometimes it has no door, you can just put up a curtain, and that cuts down cost a lot. And then you're also like, you have a general space for a bedroom that is disconnected from the living room. It can definitely be a good option if you don't want specifically a studio, but you also don't want to pay the cost of a full one bedroom. And me personally, I will say I would rather live in a studio in a nicer apartment building than settle for a one bedroom in a less nice apartment building, probably in a less nice area. But you know, to each their own on that. So like I said before, if you have a car and you're planning to bring your car to Seattle with you, definitely take into consideration when you're looking for an apartment the cost of the parking, the on-site parking really, because it can be very expensive. I know here it can be upwards of $300+ a month for parking, so that can definitely hike up your price monthly, and it's just something to think about. Or if you're moving here and you maybe want to consider getting rid of your car. I personally don't have a car. I haven't had a car here 2.5 years, I think, now that I've not had a car.
When I did have a car, I was living in North Queen Anne, and I was able to find street parking for free. So depending on where you live, it can be an option.
And I get by just fine. There is a lot of transportation here. You have like the buses, you have the light rail, there's car share services. We use those a lot. There is like the jump bikes and the lime bikes that you can choose. There is also like a water taxi, there's the ferry. So there's really a lot of options, and you don't necessarily need a car depending on where you're living and what your lifestyle is. And also right now with the times that we're living in, I know a lot of people are working remotely, so if you're working remotely, you might not even need a car in general anyways, because you don't have that like daily commute that you would have had otherwise. And don't get me wrong, there are plenty of times that we wish we had a car, but when you factor in all the costs and all of that stuff, for us personally, it's just like not worth it. So next on my list is thinking of your must-haves. And this doesn't apply to everybody. Some people are really just kind of, sure, whatever, like I'll take anything as long as it fits in my budget. And then there's the other end of the spectrum where they're like, okay, I need this, this, and this, otherwise I'm not moving there. So think of those things, whether it be a dishwasher or a washer dryer, things of that nature, and then keep those in the back of your head the whole time that you're looking, so that you are canceling out all of the ones that don't have that. You can get them out of your mind, and then you can just narrow down your list. Also, before I move on from budgeting, I do want to mention the MFTE program, which I have mentioned before in an older video where I go more into depth, so I will link that down below. You should definitely check it out. But there are plenty of MFTE units within the Seattle area, really dispersed throughout a lot of apartments, and it's definitely something to check out if you are in like a lower income bracket. It can be extremely helpful for those who have a lower income looking for rent prices. I personally had it and it was a lifesaver. I was able to live by myself in a really nice apartment, and I was able to afford it, which was like crazy to me. But if that's something that you could fall under if you are living by yourself, I would definitely check it out. Otherwise, if you are living with somebody, that helps. Dual income is very helpful when looking for apartments, but it's obviously not always the case. Okay, so now hopefully, if you've figured out your budget, we can start looking for where you'd want to live. And if you have seen any of my neighborhood series videos, you will know that Seattle is basically made up of just like all these bordering neighborhoods, and there's a lot of options for places to live. So things to consider is, if you do have a commute for work, do you want to live close to work? Do you want to have a commute? Do you want to be close to a lot of things? Like, do you want it to be very bustling and like lively, or do you want to live in a quiet neighborhood? Do you want to live close to a bus, or just any of the extra questions that come along with commuting? You definitely want to factor that into where you're going to want to live. Like I mentioned before, there is a lot of transportation options, so you should have an option regardless of where you live, but it's just the convenience really. And you should definitely check out my videos after this one, just looking at all the neighborhoods and then seeing which ones you like, and hopefully that can give you an idea of where you want to start looking. One tip that I want to add when you are looking for neighborhoods, if you're looking to live in the downtown area, this doesn't apply to everybody, it's to each their own, but I personally wouldn't recommend living anywhere on 3rd Avenue. 3rd Avenue is just known to be more sketchy. If you're a woman and you don't feel comfortable walking around at night, I highly would not suggest living on 3rd Avenue. Yeah. Another way you can look through the neighborhoods and kind of get the vibe from it is spending time on Google Maps. I spent so much time on Google Maps before I moved here, just kind of walking around the neighborhoods. I felt like I was on GeoGuessr, but I literally would find possibly a house that I wanted to live in or an apartment that I wanted to live in, and then I would just like throw the little thing down on Google Maps and just walk around and see what it looked like. Obviously, you're not gonna get the full vibe, but you can just kind of see if there's like things that look sketchy, or just what restaurants are around and how close proximity you are to things. And yeah, you could spend so much time doing that and just kind of like walking up and down the streets and seeing how you like it. But I highly suggest doing that if you have the extra time and want to. I feel like there's plenty of questions that I might have missed. So like I said in the beginning, if you have other questions, please let me know and I will try to answer them for you. But let's just get right into a little let's look on apartments.com. So there are other websites you can use, obviously. This is the one that I feel like I get the most luck out of. You can settle by price, you can do minimum maximum, you can put how many bedrooms you want, the type of apartment or house or condo or townhome. You can put the lifestyle, I didn't even know that, but that's pretty cool. And you can put your move-in date, etc. You can just see what we got here. Obviously, once you put in a price and all the extra factors, you'll have less options. So it won't be as overwhelming as this, because looking at this just in itself is very overwhelming. To make it easier on myself to save time so I'm not recording for like 3 hours, I did already pick out 2 apartments, and one is in Queen Anne. It's called the Alexan 100. I have never heard of this apartment before. I just found it on here. I guess it's really new. But this is in Queen Anne, or Lower Queen Anne, which now is called Uptown, but that's relevant. So this is where we're looking at here. It's right off Denny, which is one of the main streets that'll get you right to the highway, and it's very close to the Space Needle and all of that good stuff, so it's pretty generally nice location. Once you get closer to Belltown here, there are some less ideal places that you might just not really want to hang out at, but things to be aware of. I don't usually stay on apartments.com for that long. I just find the apartments here and then I usually go to their websites because this doesn't give me everything that I want to know, but you can kind of see what available they have. They have a studio for $1,200 to $1,800. Another thing, if you sign leases for a longer amount of time, like let's say 14 months instead of 11 months or whatever, you can usually get it for cheaper. I don't know if that's always the case, but I feel like a lot of the times it is. And also right now with COVID, they have been giving a lot of deals. So you can get, 2 months free, 6 weeks free. So definitely keep an eye out for that as well, because that can also help you save some money. Okay, so I'm just gonna go to the website here, and I'm already on floor plans, but this is the one that was on there. And if you're looking for a studio, so let's say your budget is like $1,800, this one here is for $1,762, and this is what you're kind of looking at. Let's see, it has a washer dryer, it has, I assume it has a dishwasher. It has a balcony, that's kind of nice. Has a little mud room. If this is all the things that you are liking and looking for, this would be a good option. Something that I thought was cool about this website, I'd never seen this before, is that they have like residents on here and you can chat with them apparently. I've never seen that, but that might be a good opportunity to see what the actual residents feel about the place that they live at. And another thing that's really awesome right now with everything that's going on is that they're doing a lot of virtual tours. So if you're coming from out of state, I highly suggest doing a virtual tour so that you can get like an actual person that you can talk to and they can show you the whole apartment with all the amenities, and you can just kind of see what you're getting into without actually having to be there. Another thing to factor in is amenities. I personally really think that amenities are important. I would actually pick an apartment over another one based off the amenities, but that's just me. So like I said, let's go to maps. This is my favorite thing to do. So we're just gonna take this little guy here, throw him right there. It's a little close, thanks. So this is what the apartment looks like. Obviously, it's very new because it's still being built in this picture. This is from 2019, but from here you can just kind of like run around. There's a subway, if you like subway. I actually know exactly where this is, so I just know if you go up here, you have the Key Arena, which is now the Climate Pledge Arena, and that will also just take you straight to the Space Needle, so you're all around that stuff. There's a Domino's too, that's crucial. But yeah, I just kind of like to walk around and see what there is to see. So like I said before, if you don't have a car and you are looking for transportation, you can see there's a bus here, there's a bus there with what buses it is, so you can also look that up to see where it's going, if that's going to be a route to work or whatnot. And yeah, that's basically what I would see with that one. Let's go to the other one I have. The second one I picked was the Amley Mark 24. This one is in Ballard, and this one is right in the heart of Ballard on Market Street. That's the main street. As you can see, they have quite a few available. This is the location. Really like this whole thing, if you're gonna live in Ballard, like this is where you wanna be. Okay, so here we are on their website. Here are the floor plans. Something I like about this website is that they have 3D tours. So let's say you want to live here, let's take that, and you can literally see what the apartment looks like without even having to talk to anybody, which is right up my alley. I love not talking to people. As you can see, has a nice wide living area. It's got a nice, fairly spacious kitchen. It has a ton of storage, which is kind of funny to me. It's kind of random, but there's a ton of storage in here. Here's the bedroom. Hello, I was looking at that. Here's the bedroom. Whoop. Interesting. I've noticed a lot of apartments do this where they have just like a chunk taken out of the wall, and I have no idea why they do that. My guess is for some sort of lighting to come in. Sure. Kind of strange, but yeah, I guess if you don't have a window in the bedroom, that would be nice. That's something to think about with those open one bedrooms, is that they do not usually have a window in the bedroom. To save money, I think it's worth it, but after a while, if you want that window, you're gonna have to upgrade. Alright, so that is basically everything that I typically do when I'm looking for apartments. Hopefully this was helpful for you. At the end of the day, it really all comes down to research. As tedious as it is, it's just do your research, and hopefully my videos can help you with that. I do have a whole playlist of Seattle related videos, so you should definitely check it out if you have not already. And yeah, that is going to be it for this video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe as always, and I will see you next time. Bye!